All right, everyone, welcome back to Otaku Bout, the podcast where we talk about any and everything in otaku culture. I'm your host, Shelby.
Joined by Lawrence. And once again, we have a special guest. Go ahead.
Steph from StephStone Cosplay. I can introduce myself. It's okay. I'm here again.
All right. Welcome to episode 3, everyone. And this one, we have one that is... I'm going to love this. But we are going to be talking about life lessons that we've learned from an anime.
Yes.
Yes.
Drop it. Come on.
Drop it right now?
Yeah, right now. Like, give some feels.
All right. Naruto. That's it. Believe it.
Oh my god.
Believe it. Okay, yo, I got some fire with Naruto. But go ahead.
No. Okay. So, kind of like what we've talked about before, but I think anime has a lot of deeper meaning to it than just traditional cartoons. But, in my youth, Naruto was the first anime I watched, and so, very impressionable.
Near and dear to your heart.
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Still love it. Even love...
Boruto.
Yeah. Keeping it going. But, I remember watching it, every Saturday morning, and...
Your dad would walk in and be like, are you watching that Pokemon?
Yeah, that Pokemon!
Everything was Pokemon.
Everything was Pokemon. But then eventually it got to Naruto. So everything was Naruto. So, evolution. But, I remember watching it and just, one of the, biggest things that, still sticks with me today is I don't even remember what episode. I remember he was... Spoilers, I guess, if you haven't seen Naruto.
I think there's a law, not a law, but the saying where it's if it's been out for 15 years, you're good. I mean, it might not have been exactly 15 years, but
I feel like
it's already burnt.
It's been over 10.
He has a son, guys.
Yeah, I feel like
everyone knows. Yeah,
but
he doesn't die at the end.
What? No.
Go ahead.
When he's going to retrieve Sasuke from when he gets taken. I think it's somewhere around there. But it was some filler episode. And he's talking to someone and he asks him why do you want to bring him back or something like that. But I remember his response was something along the lines of home isn't just a place, it's who's there. And so that just really stuck with me.
They really gave you a perspective.
Yeah, it's not about where you're at, it's about the people who surround you and who you call your family, whether that's friends or your blood relations, but that's where your home is, that's where you come back to, where you have your security.
Very cool.
It doesn't matter where you are.
So how's that affected you, real life?
For me, it's really made me think about the relationships I have with other people and really valuing them and seeing them for what they're worth and really making the most of them and making sure that I share those feelings with other people, because I think it's who you're surrounded by, but if you don't share those feelings with those people, they won't know that that they're your home. So I think it's very important to share how you feel about people and to remind them that they're important to you.
Wow,
so
guys, check that out. That's all from Naruto.
Yes.
A filler episode.
A filler episode, even at that.
Yo, that's deep.
Yeah. Well, what I mean, I've learned so many lessons from different anime, but what are the first one that came to mind for you guys?
Okay, well, obviously for me is humankind cannot gain anything without first giving something in return. To obtain something of equal value must be lost. Because that's from Fullmetal Alchemist, which is the anime that changed my life the most. I feel and that quote's very iconic. I mean, it's Alphonse says it at the beginning of every single episode, but that has a lot of meaning because it's the basis of everything for that universe, and I feel it's something that's just very true in all aspects and all regards, where it's everything has a cost. And I mean, it opens up the series and kind of frames it very realistically, which I appreciate because I feel there's a lot of things in life that can be dressed up and looked at in a sugar-coated sense. But I feel Fullmetal Alchemist was able to really portray the world the way that it is in all of its hardships, but despite that still have its beautiful moments. And I feel it does a good job looking at both sides of the world that translates well into like this real world.
How so?
Because like there's a lot of happiness in Fullmetal Alchemist, and there's a lot of sadness as well. Like there's a lot of sacrifice and everything, and like hard work that the characters like put into everything that they're like working towards. Like there's so much hardship in Fullmetal Alchemist, but like all that suffering is like to push for something great. And I feel like I feel like a lot of it is just kind of like a big lesson that the hard work that you put in is like worth it in the end a lot of the time, but like also like great things in life you need to work towards. Like you can't get anything for free. Like everything is sort of like earned, and like things that you put in you'll like get out. I very much like believe in that mentality of like
anything worthwhile that never came easy.
Yeah, and like
I don't know if I quite correctly, but if you guys know.
No, yeah. And it's just like this like overall sense of like balance and everything. I feel like it's that mindset just like in general is like very much like shaped the way that I think, the way that I like view things, where it's like
For example?
I feel like it just like sets like a good groundwork of like not really being selfish in a sense of like you can never really look at things like if you keep like the law of equivalent exchange in mind, like you can't really look at anything in like a selfish light, because
like entitlement.
Yeah, because it's like if you look at something, it's like if you want something you have to give something in return, like you have to sacrifice. There's always a trade. And so like I feel like
I like that.
You know, like if you look at that and like apply it to like so many things in life, it's like if you want something, like you have to give something.
Absolutely.
You know, you can't just expect anything for free. And I feel like fair trades and stuff like that help like the world be a better place instead of just like expecting things and like.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
Are you done?
I could ramble forever about stuff like that. I mean, you know, and like how it all applies, but I feel like, I feel like a lot of it just kind of like ties together to create this like a good like framework of the world that I feel like a lot of it had just like affected me in that way, where like I really honestly believe that, like, I mean, because the thing is too is that like Fullmetal Alchemist was not the first anime I watched by far, but like definitely the one that impacted me the most growing up. It came to me like at a very tumultuous time in my life because I was like 11.
Yeah, what is that word?
Chaotic and
I know that word.
Yes.
Unstable. My parents were like divorcing. Like my entire life was falling apart. I was going to middle school. Like I didn't have any like friends really. Like my life just like sucked. And I guess like those words came to me at a time where it was just kind of like reassuring that like a lot of this stuff like might be happening, but it's like things bounce back. Like there's like an equilibrium, like things like come and go.
Like a blessing in disguise?
Not necessarily a
just
blessing
that
in
things
disguise.
will
that like
get better.
Even out.
Yeah, basically that. Like things even out over time. Like
So
so
you won't
like
always be in a rut. Like it'll eventually.
yeah, and like, yeah, and the show itself like had like so many teachings like about like stuff like that, but I mean more or less, yeah, but like more or less like equivalent exchange is like the basis of my entire mentality.
I mean,
That's why I like
you
it.
even have a full metal tattoo.
Yeah.
So, like,
She's committed to the FMA life.
yeah. What about you, Lawrence? What message really stuck with you?
The message that your drill is a drill that will pierce the heavens! No, seriously. There's like a ton of anime, and Steph said a really good one. I really like Fullmetal Alchemist with the law of
You don't
connection.
like Naruto?
Naruto, you know, to be honest, I only watched a few episodes of it when it was on Toonami, and then my cable died, and then I was just like, okay, well, I can't watch this, so I didn't watch it anymore. But I really like. Okay, I'm gonna touch back on like both of those. So Naruto, I really loved the aspect of it when it first came out, where you're like a nobody, and you can like achieve great things. So that really vibed with me, because I feel like a lot of people are like, they're not like born into this life where they have like, you know, like a great dad, like a great mom, or, you know, a great grandfather that's paved the road for them. I feel like most people don't have that, you know. And so I really like the aspect of Naruto where they really put into like, okay, you're an orphan, like you're nobody really.
You have to build your own path.
I really, really, really love that. I mean, that narrative. However, they let me down at the end. In which he was actually the descendant of the ancient ninja
and got
god.
OP
His dad
powers,
was
yeah.
that was obliterating for me, so I gave up on Naruto in that sense.
At the end.
Yeah, when it was like a false narrative, because I was romantic about the narrative of being like the underdog. But go ahead. Did you want to say something?
I didn't even like know that was a thing, to be honest. Like, my knowledge of Naruto is so like bad. I didn't even know that he was originally an orphan. Like, I thought everyone knew
No.
that. Like,
No, that was like the first episode.
Yeah. No parents.
oh,
Everyone hated him.
I thought like everyone knew that he was like the descendant, and that's like why he was like outcast.
Nope.
No.
Okay, well,
No.
I just learned something.
Because he had a demon inside of
No.
him.
See, the thing is, like,
Okay.
the narrative of Naruto
That's
was a super, like, I was really romantic with the underdog, like Sasuke being so gifted, and like you're a nobody, and you want to like reach for like, you know, the equivalent of president, you know, I guess, if you're in the United States. And like I really liked that dynamic of like, you know, David versus Goliath. I really like that. I'm super romantic about that. And like Naruto, you know, I believe it, you're an orphan, and like that positivity, I'm like, I super vibed with it. And then it just turned out to be not what I expected. And I was just like, that was a big letdown for me. I feel like that could have been like kind of like cooked up to be a way better, like more motivating story, at least for me. Besides all like, you know, the jitsu and all that stuff. Yeah. So that's my take on Naruto. Full Metal Alchemist, I love it. It's like a masterpiece. You all know it. But Full Metal Alchemist, I'm saying, if there's anything bad to say about that, and
I will fight.
It was
you.
there's
short.
actually nothing bad. You know,
Okay, because oh my god, you can't.
She
Full
would
Metal
Stephanie would
Alchemist
break
is
it
a
with me.
work of, it's a work of art. If all anime were like erased from existence, I think Full Metal Alchemist is definitely anime that should be left because I think that it's like absolutely amazing. I will
Okay,
fight
I
you.
have to
That
say-
thing
We went
is
all
a
like
work
Fahrenheit,
of
like-
Fahrenheit 451
like
on
Stephanie,
anime.
you don't have to say like I'm not
Oh
gonna say
my
anything.
God.
Like Full Metal Alchemist was actually one of the animes that I watched in college after like being on a hiatus of anime, like from anime. So I watched it and I really just, you know, I was just like, wow, this is one of the reasons why I watched anime when I was so like at a young age. You know, when I watched like Rama, like stuff that wasn't like. I mean, I love Rama.
Whoa.
Rama's good, but it wasn't really plot driven. It was more like episodic. Each episode had their own like plot. But when I watched Full Metal, I was actually really sad when it ended on episode 52, something like that, right? 50 something.
Something shortened.
And I was like, oh
Not
no! But I was used to like the episode 36 one, so I was really sad when it came to episode 36. I was like, is this the end? But I was really happy to get blessed. You know, I guess the next 20 episodes. But Full Metal Alchemist was like one of those anime that was really well written, that I feel teaches life lessons that you can carry on and apply into your life, even though it's like fictional characters.
You get that Full Metal heart.
Yeah, you know.
It's like one of the lessons that they talk about. It's just kind of like overall, like a lot of the like life lessons that you like receive is like that's like another like great lesson with Full Metal Alchemist is like
Go ahead.
with like the journey and everything, like the friends and the bonds that like you make.
Oh, I love
That
that.
helps make
Oh
your
my
friendship
god.
stronger.
I
like
love
the
that so
ultimate.
much.
Oh my god, I die. It's so good. Like it's
Like when the green?
honestly, like so.
Oh, that
good.
was so good.
Oh my god.
And Green was like, no.
Anyways,
Yeah.
so like the MVP of like best anime for life lessons is Full Metal Alchemist.
So if you haven't seen it, we highly recommend it,
chock
obviously.
full of
I'm pretty
wonderful
sure all
life
y'all,
lessons.
you know, seen
like,
it.
hopefully, if you haven't, do yourself a favor.
It's super good. But no, I really love Full Metal Alchemist. But I think it really depends on what part of your life you're in that you'll find an anime that really vibes with you. Like, I'm gonna talk about Gurren Lagann, but I think one of the anime that really vibed with me was like FLCL, just because I was in that stage of like going from 8th grade to high school. So that shift was very, to me, it was like life changing. Where, I guess, just kind of taking that next step forward, and you start planning your classes. At that age, it was like, that's such so much responsibility. And like watching full FLCL, which was basically a coming of age anime, I could really relate with like Naruto, where he was like, nothing really cool ever happens here in that town, and you just kind of go on with your life because you feel like you have like a lot of stuff to do, but like nothing really actually, if you really look at it in perspective, like nothing really actually matters, kind of deal. And so I think that really vibed with me, like FLCL, and I feel like a lot of people that really loved FLCL, kind of like vibed with me on that, where they can relate to this character, where they feel like life goes on, and like sure there's a lot of things that goes like about, just like FLCL, there's a lot of crazy things that goes on in there, but like none of it really matters. Like it you go on and you carry your life, and like it just goes on. And I really love that message. I really vibe with it. But okay, so that's like a short 6 episode, super cool. I loved it. But I really want to talk about like that was just to make the point that it depends on what part of life you're in. Like, so for Steph, she was growing up like sometime when she had like hardship. So I guess Fullmetal Alchemist, like, really, you know, you can really relate to. I guess for you, Naruto was, what can you explain that film?
I mean, it was just like during middle school when you're, you know, trying to figure out who you are and like
finding friends.
Yeah.
Like, real friends.
I think that like during that time you're very impressionable, and like that's kind of when you decide on your morals and like what you believe in. Okay. And so like it definitely made an impact. But I agree with you in that depending on where you
are in life, right?
Are in life and you watch this anime, like you can pull different lessons from it. So like I'm sure if I, you know, watch an anime that I watched like when I was way younger, if I watch it now, I'm gonna get a lot of different lessons
I can buy
than the first time I watched it.
Yeah. So I want to talk about something like that. I think it's very empowering. Like it doesn't even matter like what part of life you're in. I'm gonna say that. This is how I feel. But I think one is like Gurren Lagann, which is like, to me, is like near and dear, just because I really love the raw energy that it brings. And like Kamina, if you guys watched it, you know, vibe with me. You know, she sent us a tweet. Woo! Use some fire emoji. Definitely, like Gurren Lagann was really powerful, just because it's kind of like really like literally they start from the ground up to the surface.
Started below the ground.
You know, yeah, like from the exactly below the ground to the surface to space. So I think that was really cool, but also like the message and like which if you believe it, or like if I believe in you, like basically you can do anything you want. I really love that, and I think that resonated with me just because I grew up with not a lot of role models in my life. Like, sure, I had my dad, but he was never really there because he was always working. And like, in a way, like, that's not to like downplay his hard work, because I did learn hard work, and like just because he did that a lot. But I think seeing like the example of like Simone, he didn't have his parents, so I think I can really relate with that. And like he did have someone like Kamina, which is just another person. You know, he called him brother, but they weren't blood related. But in a way that this other person can like empower him, I felt like that's really cool. And in a way, I can basically be in the seat of Simone and like feel that energy too, in which you can really do whatever you want. And I think that like just that lesson of like sometimes you gotta just go all out on your dream, just like Kamina. No, I'm not saying go all out and then die like Kamina. No. I'm saying like sometimes if you really are passionate about it, then you're willing to go all the way out. And I think Kamina illustrates that really well, and I think that really like resonates with me. And I that's why I feel like Gurren Lagann to me is like the lesson of like, if you believe it, you know, like you might be a nobody, or like you might not see much of yourself. Like Simone didn't see much of herself, but like, you know, being able to like having that belief in yourself, you can do so much more. And I think being able to have like being a role model, giving back to someone that is younger than you, or like just anyone else, is like so valuable. That's one of the reasons why I do what I do, which is basically like, you know, I've gone through the steps that, you know, a lot of people are like younger than me. You guys know, you guys are in that phase in which I was in, and I just kind of want to give back and really push you guys to like, you know, I guess reach for the stars, you know, all that stuff. So I think for me, Gurren Lagann really does it. You guys want to add to that?
No, I mean, I agree. I think a lot of anime also like pushes towards like inspiring and like trying like to tell you to do your best and like give it your all and like really push yourself to the limit. But like from what you guys are saying, like I kind of noticed like the like plot of, or like not sure how to explain it, but like the plot of anime like when we were like younger, like, you know, like the big three, like Naruto, One Piece, like
Fairy Tail,
Bleach. Fairy Tail's not.
Yikes, you don't know
Ooh, snap. Do you know your anime history?
I actually don't, honestly.
It's okay, I can tell.
And like to where we are now, we're like, I mean, I think now is like when the big three is like starting to change.
What is the big three now? Boku no Hero.
I mean, yeah, my
There is no
heroes-
big three anymore. It's just My Hero.
Yeah,
Because the big three, they were the three like supporting pillars of Shonen Jump.
yeah. Right now
And-
they don't really have it.
Boku no Hero is the only one that's really keeping it going. One Piece kind of like second, but they're like inconsistent from what I've been hearing about supporting Shonen Jump.
But like when you look at their like moral structure, like the old like big three and like other anime during that time was a lot of like having your friends help you through these, you know, hard times, and like kind of relying on them to either pick you up when you're down, or like, you know, that sort of narrative
Yeah.
where it was all about the connections you had with other people. And like now I feel like it's starting to shift towards like more like a westernized like feel, where it's you work hard yourself and like you'll make your dreams, like kind of like the
It's like no one's gonna build your dream for you.
It's
Yeah.
kind of like a plus ultra effect, I feel, where it's like because I feel like it's something that I noticed when I was like watching Haikyuu and like My Hero Academia, and like pondering like why I was like so like inspired by these, and like I feel like it's like a little bit in like Shokugeki as well, where it's like characters reach like a point where it's like
others can't.
yeah, and then they like will push beyond to like and make themselves like improve more. But the only thing is that I feel like Bleach kind of had that at some points too, but like Ichigo was a character that just kind of spiraled like downhill.
Well,
But I think
it's
that's
just-
like giving like at least like this generation a lot like different message than like what we grew up on. It's
Yeah.
more of like working on yourself and like and pushing through with your own strength,
Yeah.
rather than relying on others.
And what do you think about that versus the old?
I mean, I think there's merit in both of them.
Yeah,
Sure.
I agree.
But what do you think about like how do you think that's going to like, because you said you consider yourself growing up on the old,
Yeah, on the old of, you know.
and then you feel like that's kind of like made you kind of like gravitate towards like making more friends kind of deal, or like how do you think that's going to affect the culture or like the future generation?
I mean, I think like just socially, I think it'll lead to like a lot more personal derived projects like startups, or like
Absolutely.
like
Oh
we
my
can even
gosh.
see that right now. Like
Yeah,
there's a lot of
that's-
people really pushing towards their own dream rather than going towards the collective of getting into a
Traditional
big
route.
big business and doing all that, because that's what the group has done. And
Mhm.
like now it's a lot more like doing your like following your own dream and like pushing through with your own work and like dedication to making that dream a reality. And so I think that'll lead to a lot more just like maybe like, you know, clever inventions, or like, you know,
Yeah.
new
that's-
innovative ways to do things, because people are really finding the value in their own hard work rather than taking the easy way and going with what the collective
Well,
has
I mean,
done.
well, this isn't to say like the collective route is bad.
No, I mean that's the route I'm on right now.
No,
Like-
that isn't to say that at all in any way, shape, or form. Because I feel like once everyone starts going in the route in which everyone starts pursuing the dream, then that then becomes the collective, right? So then, in a way, it's just like there's no like everyone. I think in this lesson, if I want to add, Shelby, is more like being able to like understand yourself and what you can best play your role in the whole society. Like, so some people can be go-getters and like, you know, build up a big, inspire a lot of people and like go for their big dreams, you know. Just because someone else does that doesn't mean you can do that. You know, just like Sasuke he can do what he can do because he has a Sharingan. Like, that doesn't mean Naruto can do it, but Naruto has, you know, the nine-tailed fox. It allows him to do something else that Sasuke can do. So it doesn't mean like, so Rock Lee wasn't born with all that. So like, I feel like all this comes down to, which is really kind of cool too, it's kind of like self-awareness. So you look at yourself, understand what you got, and how you can best play your role in the whole schematic of things.
Yeah,
You
no,
know?
I think that's a good way to put it. Is like, it's not that doing like what's expected is bad, but it's being able to look at yourself and see the value that you bring, or the uniqueness that you bring to that collective.
And I think that's the best part. Like, I think a lot of like this world gets tripped up on like what's hyped and what's cool and what's expected, and like that's why you see a lot of startups that like people are going into because it's cool and trendy. Like entrepreneurship is like really cool, and I feel like a lot of people go into that because it's trendy, it's hyped, and I feel like but some people just don't have it in them to really do it. So I mean, like, hey, if you feel like you have it and you really do it, then like, go for it. But sometimes, just because your friends are doing it and I guess there are people around you are talking about it, like how like Mark Zuckerberg is like a billionaire at 30, it doesn't mean you're gonna be Mark Zuckerberg. Just be happy with who you are, understand what you got, what you're good at. I think that's gonna be like the best thing.
Yeah.
To make everyone happy, not like have to go like the disappointment.
Yeah, and I think not being afraid to foster those skills.
Absolutely. I feel like because if everyone became an entrepreneur, who'd be the workers? And like if everyone became a worker, who'd be the entrepreneur? Like who would you work for? So I feel like everyone has a role in this like thing, and I think like this, like the anime, I guess in a way it's like learning to like your dreams, because some people's dreams, like, hey, they can be happy working for someone else, and there's nothing wrong with that, And so not everyone. I think that's just kind of like how I kind of see it, like how anime plays out. It's more like, like there's definitely teamwork, and but at the same time, it's more like it comes down to like who you are as a person, what you actually have to bring to the table.
Yeah. And I think the anime nowadays is really reflecting that, or shaping the generation to work towards that in their own personal growth, which I think is just like amazing.
That's amazing. Yeah, I love it.
And so I think like even just like maybe not specific lessons, but that's like one lesson that I've learned over time by watching anime.
That's beautiful.
Really cool.
Yeah. But that was the old and
well, yeah, I mean, like that's just like a personal observation from the anime that I've watched, is that it's kind of shifting towards
like the self-awareness.
Yeah.
And
like building your own personal strength rather than relying on the hope of others to get through
the
obstacles. Yeah. But I'm sure we could talk about anime life lessons
forever.
Give us an anime, we'll give you like a life lesson. But we want to hear from you guys, and like if you have a special anime close to your heart that you've learned something from, like
that has impacted your life, right?
Yeah. Please let us know. Like we'd love to share like your perspective. But yeah, shoot us a tweet or find us on Facebook or Instagram at Otaku Bout podcast. Or you can send us an email at otakuboutpodcast@gmail.com, and we would love to share your stories.
Please.
Yes, we're going to call that a wrap for at least our first life lessons learned. But I'm sure we will touch on this again.
We want to hear your life lessons.
All right. Well.
Okay.
Thank you, Steph, for joining us.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Thank you guys for listening.
All right. We'll talk again soon.